Right, welcome back to the Blockbuster. Second episode, we're going to be talking about Scream. I'm your host, William Main, joined by the lovely Dolagista from Warsaw and the equally lovely Lucy Millen, all the way from OK, Old Patrick. How we doing today, ladies?
Great.
Yeah, I'm good.
Fantastic, glad to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're your hostess with the mostess.
Yep.
So,
I guess.
I mean, you're all right.
I can't know. I'm no bad at it. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about Scream. Spoiler warning for anybody that's not seen it. It's been 28 years, get a grip. But we're going to have some spoilers. So first off, we're just going to talk about thoughts and feelings on the film. So anybody first time watch? Nah?
No, I've
many
watched it a couple of times.
What about yourself?
I've watched it twice.
Twice? Was it better first or second time?
First, probably.
First? What about yourself? I've seen
Oh,
it
it's
hundreds.
always better the first time.
Yeah.
No, I've seen it hundreds of times, man. I felt like it was a bit of a drag to get through, man, because
Oh,
I've seen
yeah.
it about 20 times. It's probably not even my favourite one in the series, to be honest. I think I like the second one better.
I can kind of agree with that. To
You've
be
not
honest.
seen any of the other ones, have you?
No.
I'm
Let's
not
just-
the hugest fan of the newest ones, but that's just because it's like I'm not a huge fan.
No,
of
that always
sequels.
happens though, I feel like.
Yeah.
Aye, every time they try and remake something or do like a
Yeah, it
sequel,
just keeps
it's-
getting worse.
That's terrible. It was so boring. I went to the cinema to see the fifth one and nearly walked out. But anyway, we're getting off topic. So thoughts on the film.
Well, my favourite character was Gail Weathers.
Gail? Oh, come on, man.
I don't know why. There's just something about her. She's so like such an annoying character.
Oh, I hate
Yeah.
Gail.
But she just
Yes.
stays and keeps going.
I got respect to her so a little bit. I mean, I'm not a big fan of her. I like Courtney Cox, but I'm more a Randy boy. I mean the character, not a Randy boy and personality wise. What about you? Who's your favourite character?
Sydney, I think.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Got the boss bitch energy.
Yeah.
That's it. Final girl, ain't she, man? She was
Yeah.
Can't get rid of her
she was causing. I know. Hey, they've tried for about 7 films.
until they don't pay her enough.
And I know that's the only way to get rid of her, and then she's back. But I mean, I think it's quite interesting about obviously Sydney. We were talking about like the whole marketing of the film was like had like Drew Barrymore and stuff on posters.
Oh,
try,
yeah.
try to like make it as if like she's a big Hollywood actress at the time. She's going to be like the main star. Now you kind of get the rug pulled from under you like 10 minutes
This
in.
is like someone you've never seen before
I know.
as a main character.
10 minutes in, man. Drew Barrymore's killed. Spoiler alert.
It
Sorry.
was totally like I kind of find it amazing that they killed off such a prevalent actor.
It's kind of hingy, but he kind of done it like it's not the first time Wes Craven's done it. He kind of done it with Nightmare on Elm Street as well. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's got some sort of fetish for killing off blondies that you think's going to
Oh
be the
yeah,
main
no,
character.
specifically blonde bob haircuts.
Oh, definitely, man.
I noticed.
You better watch. You'll know in a film, Tall, you'll be getting killed off straight away. But aye, so obviously the thoughts in the film, I kind of like most of it. Some it's like in the daytime, which is quite weird for a horror film. Innit? It's like
Oh yeah.
there's lots of scenes filmed in the light.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like Halloween a wee bit, like not the time of year, like the movie, like the setting and stuff like that. It's like kind of a small town, lots of big trees, kind of lots of throwbacks to that. But aye, favourite scenes we're going to talk about, man. I think there's a few we've got in there. We'll
Yeah.
start with you, Lucy.
One of my favourite scenes was Randy's rules when he's in the living
I like the
room
name. Did
and
you name
he's
that yourself?
yeah.
I like that. Wee bit of abbreviation, Randy's rules.
And I just thought it was like so apt about horror movies. Like you've got like never having sex, never drinking or doing drugs, never say I'll be right back. Those are always the characters that get killed off in the first like 10-15 minutes in usual horror
That
movies.
one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance, number 1, you can never have sex. Big no-no!
I know, he goes into a few rants, doesn't he? Like
Yeah.
in the film, which is I like it. It's kind of a bit like comic relief as well as like it's finally showing you somebody in a horror movie that isn't just stupid and just walks into like a dark room. I like the scene. See when he's in the. It's not a Blockbuster, but it's like the video shop,
Yeah.
and he's talking to Stu, who turns out to be one of the killers, but he doesn't know us at the time. Obviously, he's explaining like the horror movie formula, how it's like always the boyfriend. Talk about Billy, that's the killer, which turns out to be true.
Yeah.
And then Stu kind of flips it on him and says, like, what about you? Like the creepy, like
It
the
basically.
creepy nerd that's like in love with like the leading lady.
Yeah.
And he just starts going like, of course, mate, that's the way you need to think. And starts shouting, everybody's a suspect. And then the whole shop just kind of turns around and looks like,
These
what is this
movers off
idiot
track
sitting
with this
screaming?
shit. If they'd watch Prom Night, they'd save time. There's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
I
Yeah.
thought it was quite funny.
It basically
Yeah.
tells you that there's like 2 killers all throughout, and it tells you at the start, very start, who it is. but you don't pick up on it because it tries to throw
Yeah.
you off the scent.
Aye, it's quite good at doing that. It's 2 killers as well. It's not the first time I watched it. Like I didn't really. I mean, I'd seen Scary Movie, so that kind of like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kinda-
but no one really expects there
Yeah,
to
2.
be
I
like
know.
2.
Like,
Yeah.
I've not really seen that in a horror movie before that.
Mm-hmm.
What about yourself, Tola? Any favourite scenes?
Yeah. So my favorite scene is at the party or at the end of
Ooh,
it.
party.
When Billy like comes downstairs and he has the gun and he's like, we all go a little mad sometimes, and he like scratches his head with the gun, and then he shoots. So
We all go a little mad sometimes.
no, Billy.
He's a bit off. He's not that boy, isn't he? I
Yeah.
think he's got
I
some
know.
serious mummy issues.
Yeah, it was kind
yeah,
of hot though.
His name, his name is Skeet.
yeah.
Does that not just put you off when you hear like a name that's like this?
Yeah,
really
no, I
off-putting?
don't think that his real life name is very nice. but-
Skeet Ulrich or something. It sounds
Yeah.
like a mad
Yeah.
hillbilly. I mean, but he was a good looking boy. But not as good as your old dad. But another favourite scene I've got is like, see, at the party you were just talking about,
Mm-hmm.
they've got like, see, they like Gail Weathers and then like the fat guy in the truck. They like set the camera up in the party. But it's
Yeah,
got,
that was kind of creepy. Like,
I know it's a bit sus, really.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Spying on like teenagers in a party.
yeah,
But
Good thing she did though.
I know, I suppose. But but it's got like a 30-second delay, obviously. So like you see the scene and it's like Randy watching Halloween and he's like talking to Jamie Lee Curtis saying like, watch out, he's like right behind you. He's like right behind you. And when he's saying this, like Ghostface is like walking behind him, which is kind of like, pardon me, good for us as like the audience, because we are watching the same thing he's watching on like a different platform, and we are saying the same thing, like, mate, just turn around and like, look behind you. And then it turns out like Ghostface hears Sydney screaming, bolts at the door, so you get spared, and then out to the motor, slits Fatty in the truck's throat. So I thought that was a pretty cool scene as
That
well.
was a really good scene.
But no, there's hundreds of scenes, man. Anything else? You've got?
Yeah, I really liked the scene. This was actually an improvised scene by Matthew Lillard where he's like kind of holding onto the phone. I don't
Who's
think
Matthew?
he's
Well, it's Stu.
yes,
Yeah.
Stu. Where he's kind of
Shaggy.
holding onto the phone and he's going, "Oh, my mum and dad are going to be so mad." It was
I know,
was
as if
just
that's
such
the way
a
you'd
funny
react,
scene.
like,
Yeah.
if you're being done for like being a
Like
mass murderer.
hysterical crying.
Oh, I know, it was funny, but some of it was quite comedic as well. Like, it's not just like, I mean, it's not really
It's
scary,
not.
is
It's
it?
like
Yeah.
stressful at some bits, and then you have a wee laugh.
It's
good.
quite light as well. What about yourself, Annabelle?
no,
Nah, no more scenes you don't like. Any scenes you don't like?
no.
Nah, mate, I thought it was a bit slow at times. I thought, man, like Summit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of elongated.
Aye, there's like, I get what they
And-
were obviously trying to do and stuff like that, and I think at Summit it's dead smart and stuff as well. Like, see,
Builds up the tension. as well.
Yeah.
it's kind of like a Guess Who, which isn't really something you see in like, well, you can maybe see it in modern slashers, but back then you didn't really see it. It's like a Guess Who, like a whodunit. Like usually if there's like a formula for like a slasher movie, you would like know who the killer is.
Yeah, you can figure it out, but it was throwing you off its scent after telling you who it was.
like at the start of the film, I thought it was like, well, it's going to be like the boyfriend, and then it shows you like so when the phone mind the scene when like he's in the house or like Ghostface is in the house with like Sydney, and he's trying to like kill her and stuff like that, and then Billy comes in, like saves the day, and the phone drops out.
Yeah.
But then it like shows you he was like in the jail and stuff like that when like phone calls are made. So you're like,
Yeah.
right, well, it can't be him, obviously. But then the idea didn't even pop in my head that there's going to be like two
Actually,
killers.
I didn't like Billy as a character. So
Until-
obviously,
or just in
like I
general,
just
or until
didn't
we-
in general because of like the way he like kind of guilt trips Sydney and to like try to have sex with him and all that. It's
typical man.
but then it's kind of it makes sense in the end because he killed like her mum. So
That was
or at least that's what he said.
him and Stu done her mum because it was like she was sleeping with his dad or something. Like that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
something like that. It was so weird.
And then he's and he's like he's a pure mummy's boy and all. Like there's a bit see when she's like see when she's like in the hall room, and she's talking about like she's like talking about like her mum has been like he's like get over it. It's been like a year, and he was like when my mum left my dad, I got on with it. And it's
That
like
was
mate,
so
There's a
different.
big difference between your mum getting like
Yeah.
raped and murdered and your dad like cheating on her and just your mum leaving.
I know.
That's so weird. But the mum ends up coming back again. Spoiler alert. In the second movie, she's the
Yeah.
killer in the second movie. So you don't need to watch the second movie now at all.
Yeah.
As well, like it was quite. I think it was quite like smart for its time as well. It was kind of the first like meta kind of horror movie. Do you know what I mean? Like it kind of made fun of all the like made fun of like all the tropes that are in like horror movies.
Typical horror movies of that time.
Yeah,
It definitely changed the pathway that horror movies went down for the 20th century.
Oh, definitely, man. Like they've obviously got all the classics like the stupid teenagers drinking, partying, having sex, and then they've also just got like they also kind of like done something new, I thought, and like that I'd only really seen in like Wes Craven try to do it in A New Nightmare, which was like a take, try to like flip the script. He tried, but it was a bit jumbled in that movie. He made it like real life characters, and then the way that they perceive horror films and stuff like that. But this one was completely different. It was just like a story with that. So I thought that was pretty good. The music and stuff as well, I thought was quite good. There was like subtle references to like stuff.
Yeah.
There was like "Don't Fear the Reaper" and stuff like that. There was like a mad acoustic version.
Yeah, I feel like all the songs had like a title that like referred to the scene and stuff.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
also for like references, there was like at least 10 movie references.
Oh,
like,
right at
from
the
other
start, there's about
horror movies.
The start, the mad game he's playing. That's like there's a movie like when a stranger calls, I think it is, and it's like somebody's phoning
Yeah.
their babysitter to say like check on the kids and stuff like that. So that was like I kind of think of that, and then goes into all the movies talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street. And Wes Craven kind of has like a sly dig saying that the only one that was good was the first one. That's like
Oh yeah.
the only one he directed, apart from the last one, obviously. But what do we think? I want to know, what do we think the character's favourite scary movie actually is? Everybody that's in the film. So I went right. What do you think Billy's favourite is?
Oh, Billy's favourite is probably. I'm gonna go with Nightmare on Elm Street just because of.
You think?
I know that's a very like just the one we've just talked about, but I think it's very apt for Billy's character because he actually crawls into Sydney's room through the window, just like.
But for an alibi, by the way, let's mention
Aye,
that. So
no, I know,
he's
but it's
sadistic
like-
even in that. He doesn't even go on to try and get
I
his
know.
bird. He was just trying to.
It just
get
really
away with it.
reminded me of when the Thingy's boyfriend from Nightmare
Glenn.
on Elm Street climbed in the window.
Wee Glenn,
Yeah.
R.I.P. my boy. I think it's probably The Exorcist because he was saying he was watching The Exorcist.
Oh, aye, I
That's-
forgot about that.
That's one for me. You got a movie I think is his favourite slasher, Scream. Even though he's not seen it.
Maybe Sydney's favorite is Halloween because she like does things that are like in Halloween movies. Like
You think she's kind of like Jamie Lee? Jamie Lee
Yes.
Curtis.
she like escaped from her attic onto the roof like Jamie from Halloween 4. So
Yeah.
She's thingy. Stu, I think he quotes Psycho, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
quotes
does.
Psycho,
He
so
quotes Psycho quite a lot.
I think that's probably his. Oh, but then again, with DCA, I think his favourite movie would probably be Trading Places because he was saying that about Jamie Lee getting the top off.
Aye.
So don't hate the messenger.
Sun's out.
That's it. Sun's out, buns out.
Uh-huh.
Also, I quite like when like films are set in like locations like that, like suburban that seem quite safe. But like it just kind of flips the script on it. Like it feels quite safe, and then all of a sudden, a couple of like people get killed, and
Yeah.
like the whole town goes into panic.
Instead of like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Oh no, exactly, man. Also, as well, like they were quite like the two killers. They were quite like bold. They were quite bold with it. Like I remember, like see after Drew Barrymore's character gets like killed like straight away, like obviously she got like gutted and like strung up and stuff like that.
yeah.
And they're like talking about like, how would you gut something, and Stu literally just says like, oh, you could take like your knife and you go for like here to here and like all the way up. So he's genuinely just describing like
What he done,
what he
yeah.
done to like Drew Barrymore. But they're obviously just thinking like, he's probably talking about like when he's been out fishing.
They
or
think
something
he's
like
having a laugh.
that. Aye,
Yeah.
but he's like genuinely just like so bold with it, pretty much just telling you right away this is exactly what happened and who done it and who done it to who. It's quite. That's quite hangy looking back at it, man. It's
Yeah, he's such a kind of laughable character.
Stu's the goat, man.
Yeah.
I hope he comes because you don't actually see him getting killed. Like, I mean, you see the TV drop on his head and stuff like that, but you don't actually see him getting like, like
Yeah.
how Billy gets shot in the head at the end. Like,
I'm a bit biased though
Final.
because I do like Matthew Lillard in all types of films.
to
So
be fair, I think I've only seen him in Scream and Scooby Doo, but an absolute
Yeah.
hero, man. Absolute mainstay of the childhood, being Shaggy. Love the guy.
Yeah.
Hero. Hope he comes back. Miss you, Matthew. Matty.
Matthew.
Yeah.
Matthew. Who cares? I'll call him Matthew if I want. It's my podcast. Aye, so we've kind of touched on that, but another one I want to say, who's your favourite character or like a character you kind of relate to in the film? Personally, I'm like Randy, I think. Not because I like movies and stuff like that. And I feel like if I was in a horror film and all this stuff was kind of happening, I would be like, mate, like, what is going on? Like, how are you still, like, after Billy literally came into our house with a phone and like it dropped it and he gets arrested, how are you still like going back with him? I'd be like, what are you doing? He's clearly like involved in some way. Or I just wouldn't trust anybody. I'd probably, pardon me, the last thing I'd be doing is going to like a big party where there's like a killer on the loose. I'd be like in the house, just obeying the curfew like a good boy.
Aye. I mean, obviously, I touched on my favourite character being Gail Weathers, but if I was to do the character I related to the most, I'd probably go with Stu, because
Because you're a killer. I mean,
no, because like I
hope you're no Billy, man.
I'm a bit childish, and I would probably just do something like if my
Just
friend
go
jumped
do
off a
something,
bridge,
just-
I'd jump off with them.
So
You know what I mean?
If she said that you're going to go on a mass killing spree, then
I'd be like, oh, that sounds fun. I'm gonna do that with
I'm
you.
probably the first target then.
Aye.
What about you? Who do you relate to? Dewey?
I don't think I relate to any of them.
I think you're a bit like Dewey.
Why?
Big dumb cop.
No, I don't think so.
Nah, I'm only joking. But
Thanks.
Sydney. Relate to Sydney.
Well, she
I-
was my favourite. But
She was?
Yeah.
I do like her, but... Now, do you know what? I do. I think she's probably the best. She might be the best final girl
Yeah, you can't beat it.
in like all the horror because she actually causes it, man. She like goes for it and she's bold as brass, man. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about like what inspired the film.
Well, obviously Halloween was like a big factor in it,
Yeah.
because a lot of the references were to Halloween, and even Wes Craven himself says that like he was kind of watching Halloween and thought of a lot of the scenes off of it.
He's referencing. There's a thing that says something about a Wes Carpenter film as well, which obviously like the characters got it wrong, but it's a mix between his name and John Carpenter, who
Aye.
directed like Halloween.
Uh-huh.
So that's thingy. But what inspired it? The guy that wrote it, Kevin Williamson, he like read up on the Gainesville Ripper, also
Yeah.
known as Louisiana-born Danny Rolling. He was a serial killer who inspired the movie. Obviously,
In Florida.
was it Florida?
He
Aye.
killed 5 college students in like 4 days. So
Jesus,
Oh, I
man,
didn't
that
know
was
that. I
that was
didn't
some
find that in
weekend,
my
wasn't it?
research.
yeah.
That was a long weekend. I was also known he would spy on women in their homes, which is like you can kind of see that in the film.
That's a
Like,
bit.
that's a bit sus. Aye.
Yeah.
I mean, killing them's just as bad. But
Well, yeah,
is that
but
where we draw? Is that, where
that
we
just
draw
adds
the
a
line?
level of creepiness
Is
to
that
it.
where
Yeah.
we draw the line? Like killing 5 women's all right, but as soon as it spies on them in their home, it's,
Yeah.
it's too far.
Yeah, then you need to go.
Aye, but you kind of see that in the film. Like, there's a bit in Sydney's like talking to Tatum, I'm sure, her pal, and then it just kind of cuts to the bushes, and you in the broad daylight, and you see Ghostface just kind of peek around like a tree,
Yeah.
which is something else I was wanting to talk about. Like today with the film, like Ghostface is like he's not the best killer. He's clumsy, isn't he? Like he's quite
No,
over the
yeah.
top, and he's always like,
And he always has that signature wipe the knife.
aye,
move.
but he's not really like imposing. Like he always just kind of like seems to.
Just
matter-
be there.
No matter who he's like killing, he seems to like take a few smacks. Like,
Do you know, see the
or he gets
actual...
battered or something like that. Like he misses. Seen that bit you were talking about earlier on, the like when he tries to kill Sydney for the first time, he's getting like hit with so much stuff, and then when he tries to kill Tatum in the garage, she literally like ducks and he like falls like right over and does like a front flip and stuff. Like that.
Aye.
It's ridiculous.
See, like the actual guy that voiced Ghostface, they actually kept him separate from all the actors, so that there was a disconnect between the actors and the voice.
Also, was that not actually just like a?
So that was them actually reacting to his voice for the first time when they were doing the scenes.
I didn't know that was like a real voice. I thought it was genuinely
No, it was a voice
like
actor.
a voice
yeah.
changer.
I can't remember his name though, to be honest. I should have searched that.
That's
up
all
more.
right. We'll just call him Wee Ghosty.
Wee Ghosty.
Me ghosty. Aye, but so back to about Roland's crimes. It provided like a good jump off point for like a slasher story.
Yeah.
Like being watched was kind of like a main part that like inspired him. He wanted to kind of flip the script as well, like a helpless like female though. He wanted like, as we were talking about Sydney, to be like a strong like
A
final
strong heroine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like-
Not really.
heroine.
Yeah. Whatever.
Heroine, man. You're talking about.
That is an actual word, you know.
I know, I'm only kidding. Aye, and another thing, see, like at the end, they're talking about like, have you see the second movie, the second Scream? There's one of the killers is like saying he wants the trial and he's going to like blame it on like the movies and stuff like that.
Aye.
Like in that guy Rowan's like trial, he claimed that like watching The Exorcist 3 was like you didn't know like the difference between movies and reality and stuff like that. So
Oh,
I think
really?
I think you try to blame it on like pop culture and like films, which has
That's
actually been like
insane.
it's been like that's like a really big discussion. I think, especially in like America, like violence in like film and TV and like games and stuff. Does that like drive
Yeah.
people to do these act? Which is like, in my opinion, such a cop
I
out,
think
man.
that's just an excuse, but like I can see where typically parents who maybe have violent children
Yeah.
get worried.
But I mean, see if you can't handle like watching a horror movie with wanting to go and like chop people up, then you're obviously a
Yeah,
bit,
there's something
Yeah.
wrong with you.
a bit touched in the head anyway, aren't you? Do you know what I mean?
Turn it off.
Aye. So we're going to go into the production. So has everybody got any points in the production?
Yeah, I thought this was quite interesting because it only took 21 days to film,
Did it?
which is really short. I feel like
That's really short.
because it usually
3
takes
weeks,
like a
man.
year or something.
Aye, 3 weeks to film.
Yeah, so 2 months it was like on and
Must
off.
have been good scenes.
Yeah,
Aye.
in California.
What was the budget? Does anybody know the budget?
15 million.
15 million. That's
Yes.
quite a lot, man, isn't it? Especially for back then. But
Yeah, but now it's low. I feel like.
oh, I
Yeah.
know. Like,
It sold out, like it made a profit, and it sold out for like $173 million US.
oofed, man. 170.
Good profit.
Aye, I
Decent
know.
profit, aye.
173 million. Chump change.
But
Got that
also
sitting in the house.
there was with the Ghostface like mask, when they were actually producing the film, they had to go to the makers of the the original costume and try and ask them for their permission to have it in the film, because they weren't sure if their SFX creators could make it. But they kept on upping in the price. And so the SFX creators just made like a makeshift one for like the first couple of scenes, and eventually the company that produced the Ghostface costume brought down their numbers.
Valuation.
Yeah, evaluation. Yeah,
When they knew that they could get it done for
and
half the price.
it was
and all.
officially called Ghostface after that.
Aye, the effects team. It was involved. They were involved in what the kill would look like as well. Like apparently, it was originally meant to be like a white ghost figure,
Yeah,
but then like they decided it looked scarier if it was all. I mean, it's not really a scary costume, but they said it would look scarier if it was all in black.
yeah,
And they drew, like the effects team drew up the sketches of the possible masks and then created that one.
Yeah.
Craven chose the mask in the film. Chose obviously had final creative control of what the mask was going to be. And also, like, see, KNB Special Effects, they were brought in to like help bring some of the scenes to life. They created like a life-size dummy of Drew Barrymore. And like hung it up on the tree and stuff like that. So it was actually, I was looking online, there was actually like photos of like different like drawings of like what they'd like planned to
Yeah,
do
I
and stuff
saw
like that. So it's pretty cool actually seeing how it turned out in the film.
Yeah.
But R.I.P. Drew.
Something I've noticed we've not touched on is like the Easter egg of Wes Craven was actually in the film
Oh, aye.
as the janitor dressed up as Freddy
It was
Krueger.
called Fred as well, wasn't it? I'm
Yeah,
sure.
his character's name was Fred on the script, wasn't it?
Aye, there's quite a lot of like wee like Easter eggs and like tributes to like other films and stuff like that. Like even for one, like Billy Loomis, like Loomis, the last name is like the Doctor in Halloween.
Yeah.
So again, we're talking about the influence of like Halloween and stuff like that. And aye, there's just like lots of wee things that are always talk about like The Exorcist, or they're talking about. Well, you never really hear. Well, you didn't before that. You didn't really hear like people in horror movies talking about
Other horror
other
movies.
horror movies. It was kind of like a taboo subject. Like if you were in a horror movie, apparently the horror genre doesn't exist
Yeah.
and nobody knows how to act in the face of trouble.
Actually breaks some kind of, I don't know what type of wall you would call it, but it breaks some type of wall in
We
the
call
films.
it the sixth wall.
Yeah, where they actually create a recreation of Scream in the movie.
Oh, the second one, the
Yeah.
Stab franchise, they call it. It's like
And it just kind of plays all throughout the next couple of
aye, like literally, there's like
movies.
Stab movies. It's so confusing. It's hurting my head talking about it, but there's like
movie within the movie.
a movie within a movie, which is meta, but then the movie's meta. It's so.
It's so weird.
But I like at the start of like every film, they kind of like recreate like the death. Like there's always a death of like a character. Like in the second film as well.
Yeah.
Is it who's Will Smith's like Jada? Is it Pinkett or something? What's her name?
I know what you mean. I don't remember her name though. I know
She
who you
was
mean.
on like all the posters and stuff like that as well for Scream 2, and then the first scene she gets done in as well. Like genuinely, like I think it must have just been a thing they were like trolling everybody.
Yeah.
Aye, so obviously, like we were going to talk about like launching the careers, but there was obviously like quite a lot of like big people already in the film, weren't there? So like, what were you going to say? Something about Courtney Cox?
Yeah, how she was in Friends.
So she was kind of mainstream already.
Yeah, but then obviously they had the Gail and Dewey had like a thing
Yeah.
in the movie, and actually they also had one like in real life, and they were together for 14 years.
14 years.
Yeah, and they had a kid, and I'm pretty sure they got divorced. So
That must have been awkward. I always think that must be so
Yeah.
awkward. Like, see, so if they were together for 14 years,
especially when it's like on screen and like on like
Yeah,
and in real life
you have
as
to
well.
be like really civil.
yeah,
I know, but like, I think as they get married in 1999. So if you're saying 14 years, they were both in like the 5th Scream film in like 2022 or something like that. So that like must be so awkward seeing like your ex-wife and like having
Yeah.
to like
Act
act as
with
if you're
them,
still
yeah.
in love with her on screen. Like, cause
yeah,
they
but
took,
they're probably friends if they have a kid,
Yeah,
right?
they must be friends, hopefully.
I suppose, but like I just think it'd be a bit weird.
It could just be really awkward on set.
Because in the 5th like Scream film, they're acting like, well, I think she left them, and I think in the film they like one of them left the other one, and you can see David Arquette looks a wee bit angry. So I wonder if that's some real life
Maybe.
emotions coming to the big screen.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
that-
Maybe that helped them because they had like
Probably. Maybe they do hate each other. Lots of tension.
yeah.
Aye, obviously what came after the film was like the franchise pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's scheduled to be like a 7th film coming out next year.
Mm-hmm.
And like Courtney Cox has been in every single Scream film. I think Dewey, spoiler
There's
alert.
already a 7th film, but I think it's an 8th film they're thinking of making.
Is it? I thought the 7th
Yeah,
one
no,
was...
the 7th was the last one that came out. It's
no,
just
no,
because
you're
one
wrong.
of
It
them.
was 6.
Are you sure?
I'm
Because
positive.
I'm sure it was 7.
Nah, it was positive.
I'm going to search this up
Fact
after.
check it, now. Get a
I'll
phone up and fact check it. Somebody should have done their
cut
research.
this-
Somebody
we'll cut
should
this
have
out
done
when
their
we're-
somebody
when
should have
we're
done their
editing.
research, because I know it's the 6th film.
Right, let me search up the Scream franchise and
But,
I'll actually
aye.
we'll cut this out later.
Aye. Anyway, like they kind of done for the 5th one like a requel, you call it, which is like a rebooted sequel. So they had like legacy characters like Gail, Sidney, Dewey, and stuff like that.
Scream. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
no, it's because it came out in
Ah.
26.
Yep.
I mean, let's cut that bit out.
And so who was right?
Oh, da.
Yeah, that's that, mate. Aye. So pretty much what I was just saying there, you threw me off now. The requel. Aye, so they bring like legacy characters into the fold, and then like have new characters as well for the 5th film. So like they try to like boost the new characters off the back of the old one, and then in the 6th one there was none of the old characters apart from Gail. There wasn't like Sydney or anything like that, and I think the fans kind of it caused a wee bit of uproar. So now the
Yeah,
now the
that's
7th.
because they wouldn't pay her enough, though.
Aye, but I think they're paying her now because she's back for 7th.
Is
one,
she?
isn't
Aye.
Apparently she's might be back, so they must have get the checkbook out after. I don't know how well it done at the box office, but maybe not that well.
I don't think it was very good, the last one, though.
Nah, I don't know. I didn't like the last two, to be honest.
It brought back, did it not bring back Skeet Ulrich in the last
Aye.
one as a ghost or
Aye,
something?
it was like. It wasn't it, aye, because it turned out like
Was it not like his
his
grandweight
daughter or something like that. Aye,
great niece or something like
aye,
that?
it was something today. I can't really remember exactly what it was, but I know what you're talking about. But they looked like they kind of like de-aged them as well. It
I
was
know,
weird.
it was so weird.
That was very weird. They looked younger in that than he did in the first film. It was odd. Also, like what came after it, like Scary Movie. I don't know if you've seen Scary Movie, like the spoof.
Well, that's actually what Scream was meant to originally be named. It was originally meant to be named Scary Movie.
Maybe that's why they've
Um,
done that. Then I don't know.
Yeah, because I can't remember exactly why, but it was because
It's a scary movie.
it was originally going to be Scary Movie, and then they had listened to Michael Jackson's song Scream, and they just decided it fit the movie better.
I mean, Scream is probably a better title than Scary Movie, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Scary Movies, like, pretty much just everything we are saying about Ghostface being like over the top and stuff like that, and like he always kind of gets like hit and stuff. I think they kind of took it to like the next extreme. Like there's a scene and he's like chasing somebody upstairs and he's getting hit with a piano. And I don't know but there's a bit as well. I was kind of laughing. See in the film we were talking about earlier and Scream when like Billy's like saying about get over it. It's been like a year, and then he said something about his mum leaving, and then Sydney says something like, "I'm sorry if my hangy doesn't your perfect existence."
Trauma.
Aye, should they
Yeah.
do that in Scary Movie, but to make it like so much more over the top? And I was
Like,
thinking, like, that is
dramatised.
such a ridiculous. Nobody in real life has ever said something about your perfect existence and like threw their hands up and walked away.
I find it so funny.
Aye, and obviously like pop culture, Ghostface. Like when I was back in school, like everybody at Halloween had like the Ghostface mask, and there was like a wee blood pump thing, and it was all over the face and stuff.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
it was very prevalent in that time.
And it's like it's quite an easy costume. Like
Yeah,
usually,
I feel like it's still one of the most popular ones.
Oh, yeah.
aye, and it wouldn't be dear because it's not as if it's like a pure high quality costume. See, if you
Yeah.
want like a good Freddy Krueger costume, like you're going to need to pay so much for a mask or like.
You
Michael
walk
Myers
along
or
like one
something.
of those streets near George Square,
Ah,
and
you see them, aye.
and there's like Halloween shops at Halloween time, and
Ghostface.
they've always got Ghostface costumes. You're never running short.
I wonder, like, seeing the film, now they never, like, I noticed one of the characters, I think it was Tatum, says, like, I'm sure it was her said, like, Mr. Ghostface.
Yeah, so I've got that quote written down actually. She says, "Oh, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel."
Aye, but, like, but nobody, like, it wasn't in the papers or anything that he was
Nobody had called him Ghostface
Aye,
by that point.
called. It was all, but then I'm thinking, was that maybe something in the film that was, like, discussed, like, with the characters off camera, because he gets called Ghostface, but she called him it, and nobody obviously heard that apart
Yeah.
from because she gets killed. It was a bit, I found it a bit odd. I don't know if it was maybe, like, a writing mistake, or it
Yeah,
was
or maybe they'd read it in an article or something like
aye.
that.
But aye, any other thoughts on the film before we wrap this up?
No, just the fact that the whole movie itself just changed the directory of like horror movies for the next century afterwards. So
Pretty much. Let's go ratings out of 10 before we go. What you gain up?
Out of 10,
Out of 10.
like a 7.
7.
I'm giving it an 8.5.
Just to be hanging, I'll give it an 8 then. I mean, it's not as good as what I once thought it was, but
It's better the first time, I think, maybe
Aye.
because we were actually sitting and reviewing it. It's not as
I've
good
maybe-
as we thought it was.
I've maybe seen it about 10 times.
Yeah.
So, but like for consistency, I'll give it an 8. It's not one of my favourites, but I appreciate and respect what it done. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's going to wrap us up. Next time, thank you again for coming on, the two lovely
Yeah.
ladies. We round of applause for you. And your lovely host. Thanks. Aye, so next time on the podcast, we're going to be skipping the 2000s and we're going to go straight to the 2010s and talk about The Conjuring.
Because The Conjuring's the best movie.
I believe you're going to be on for that one. aren't
Yeah, I'm going to come back.
you? The lovely Tola's going to be behind the desk this time. So, anyway, right, that wraps us up. So, thanks for listening and we'll see you in the
Thank
next one.
you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.